Hello and welcome to The Download from Wise Woman and Wordsmith, where insight meets inspiration. A space for creatives, dreamers and visionaries ready to spark new ideas, ignite purpose and reimagine possibilities. Here we share downloads of wisdom, stories and strategies to help you thrive in your creative journey. I'm your host, Jill Marshall. Tune in, connect and let the magic unfold.
Show you tomorrow.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Download, where we explore the heart, soul and strategy behind creativity and creative businesses. Today, we're diving into a topic that's as timeless as it is tricky: comparison and competition in the creative arts. So let me tell you what prompted this particular discussion. In the episode How Downloads Find You and Help You Find Yourself in my podcast, I tell the story of how the debut novel Trust by Mike Bullen, who's the creator of the brilliant and much-loved TV series Cold Feet, helped me to find where I was, literally, geographically, and also spiritually and psychologically. I contacted Mike Bullen about it, and to my great surprise and honour, he got back to me pretty quickly and confirmed that I was right about the location. He also thanked me for being one of not that many people who'd read the book. And I didn't just read it, may I say, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it helped me find myself. But this got me thinking about how it's hard to compare works of creation and to predict the success of those creations. Imagine two authors, both connected to the much-loved British TV series Cold Feet. Mike Bullen, the creator of the show and writer behind much of the 10-season rollout, has written a novel. And then there's David Nichols, who penned only 4 episodes of Cold Feet, but is renowned for novels like One Day and his latest book, You Are Here. Another book that tells me where I am geographically, spiritually and psychologically. Anyway, it's tempting to line them up and compare. In fact, the marketing for Mike Bullen's novel zoomed in on it. The tagline on the book cover even says, "Move over, David Nichols." Now, TV shows are a huge team production, and David Nichols would have had to write his small percentage of episodes to a particular brief, albeit with his idiosyncratic flair, so that might even out any differences in style on Cold Feet. I mean, I once wrote 3 episodes of a popular national TV soap, but it didn't really feel like mine once they were screened. But is it fair to compare their books? Their creative journeys, styles, and audiences are different. While both excel on dialogue, not surprisingly, Mike Bullen's novel might reflect his talent for ensemble storytelling, for complicated relationships, while David Nichols' works are more often about intimate, bittersweet human connections between 2 people. Their books may share themes or tones, but to me, their unique perspectives and styles make them incomparable in any meaningful way. And yet, as creators, creatives, and just as human beings, we often can't help but compare ourselves to others. This tendency, of course, extends right into the digital world, where every creator, be they a writer, artist, or musician, is vying for reviews, shares, likes, and follows. Social media can feel like an endless scoreboard. Did my post get enough engagement? Did my book, song, or artwork find its audience? And here's the kicker. Do we want just any audience, or are we striving for the perfect audience? Those metrics can be very seductive. A viral post feels like success, but is it really success? If 1,000 likes come from people who don't deeply connect with your work, does it matter more or less than 10 likes from 10 people who are genuinely moved by it? By way of an example, I once followed the blow-by-blow strategy of some social media guru to increase my followers on my Jill Marshall Books page on Facebook. You can go take a look at it if you want. I had a couple of 100 die-hard fans at the time, but, that wasn't going to bust any algorithms. So as was suggested, I sourced and posted a viral sort of general interest video. Just a guy in a marketplace playing something classical on 4 dozen wine glasses filled with water, like Sandra Bullock in Miss Congeniality. Now, to this day, I don't know how it worked, but suddenly, overnight, I went from 400 to 4,000 followers. I couldn't have been more shocked or delighted. But then the reality of where those followers had arrived from became increasingly clear. I started to get creepy messages in my inbox. I found a lot of very unpleasant interest in my female book characters. Before too long, I figured out that the vast majority of these new followers were not my target audience of tween and teen girl readers, but rather seedy individuals targeting my target audience of tween and teen girl readers. And the reason I figured it out is that Facebook, this is in the day while it still had fact checkers, I'm guessing, worked it out first, and they shut my page down due to what they called suspicious activity. To this day, I'm not able to do much with that page, and I'm wary of what I put on there. So it's lost its purpose for me of being able to connect with my readers, all in the interest of a few more likes on social media. It also reminded me how vulnerable everybody, but especially young people, are on these platforms. So I've avoided TikTok, and I've avoided more teen-angled socials like the plague. There's an audience of raving fans, and there's an audience of raving lunatics, and I will take 10 genuine fans over 10,000 spurious likers any day of the week. And what about those other comparison methods? Reviews and rewards. This is often how artists get their work noticed, get picked up, get viralized. But again, it can be very skewed. I honestly stopped bothering reading reviews very early on after the publication of my first book, Jane Blonde, Sensational Spilot. I was living in New Zealand at the time, and the book editor of the most popular national weekend paper quite simply took it apart. Years and many books later, she interviewed me again and apologised fulsomely for having done that. It turned out to be the very first children's book she'd ever reviewed, having only just made the shift from literary novel reviewership. So she didn't know what she didn't know about the kidlit audience. And it also works in the other direction. I have been listed in significant top tens because a particular book sold at a particular time in a particular way. And publishers have been working these algorithms since long before it became a common term. But what about genuine reviews on Amazon, I hear you cry? Well, some are genuine. Others can be a result of leave me 5 stars and I'll send you a free copy campaigns. And still more are hacked by either diehard fans or by haters. I gave up on Amazon ratings long ago when I discovered there's a particular knot of nasties who have made it their mission to give me damning or 1-star reviews on as many of my books as possible. The result? Mid-range star ratings of 3.5 or so, and no chance of being picked up by a passing Bezos algorithm. And even with awards, the process for getting in front of the judges of any big awards in any of the creative arts is expensive, it's protracted, and it's challenging, which cuts out certain opportunities from the get-go. It's not to say any of it is impossible, because we all know of crazy overnight successes that came about as a result of an award being won or a million reviews flooding the internet. But it's also not an indication that something that wasn't picked up is any less worthy by comparison. And again, I'd still rather have one child make their mum track me down and send me their carefully written letter decorated with stars and unicorn stickers to tell me that my book made them happy or even changed their life than 1,000 random thumbs up. And on the theme of that unique feedback comes the last thought about how difficult it is to compare, contrast, and compete in the world of creativity. Every creative piece is personal and unique, as is every creator. Your work is a reflection of your experiences, your voice, and your perspective. Back to Bullen and Nichols again. While both may have been inspired by similar life themes or creative collaborations, the way that they interpret and communicate those ideas is very distinct. This individuality makes direct comparisons nearly impossible. How do you compare a painting to a sculpture, a sonnet to a novel? Even within the same medium, like novels or screenplays, success looks different for every creator. And here's the thing. One person's masterpiece might not resonate with another person at all. And that's okay. So, how do we move away from harmful comparisons and towards something healthier? Well, to begin with, if you're stuck in a cycle of comparison, pause and ask yourself, why did I start creating in the first place? Chances are it wasn't for the likes or the follows. It was because you had something to say, something that only you could express in your own distinctive way. Next, remember that every creative journey is different, and every piece of art has its own unique value. Instead of comparing yourself to others, focus on creating work that you're proud of and finding the audience that will truly appreciate it. As with Mike Bullen and David Nichols, both have created remarkable works, but their successes are as unique as the stories they tell. There's room for us all in this creative world. And finally, as Wayne Dyer says in Your Sacred Self, once you see that others are on their own sacred quest, you cannot help but send love rather than judgment. Celebrate the success of others in your field, not as a benchmark to beat, but as proof of what's possible. When we lift each other up, we all benefit. So, to uplift a fellow author, can I thoroughly recommend Trust by Mike Bullen as a great read, true to his uniquely creative nature. And of course, I also highly recommend One Day by David Nichols. Links in the show notes. And also linked in the notes is the episode where I share the crazy synchronicity that connected me with Mike Bullen in the first place. And as always, keep creating, keep sharing, and keep shining. Until next time. Thanks for tuning in to the Download podcast. For more about my books, coaching, and business services, please check out wisewomanandwordsmith.com. Also, I'd love to hear more about your own intuitive hits and downloads, so do find us on Facebook, YouTube, and more.